You didn't need evidence to be executed for witchcraft. You just needed someone to say your name. And once they did, it was almost impossible to survive, because the trials weren't built to find the truth. They were built to confirm it. Anna Ebeler lived in Bamberg, right in the middle of one of the most intense witch hunts in the Holy Roman Empire. She wasn't an outsider. She had neighbors, people who knew her. And like any community, there were tensions. Arguments that never really ended, disputes over property, small resentments that stayed quiet. Until they didn't. A cow dies, a child gets sick, a harvest fails, and suddenly, someone remembers Anna was there. Not as a question, as a statement. Once that accusation reached officials who already believed witches were active, it didn't need proof. It just needed to make sense. Anna was arrested, interrogated, executed. Not because one accusation proved anything, but because it matched what they were already expecting to find. A private conflict became public evidence. And once your name entered the system, it didn't belong to you anymore. In Würzburg, accusations didn't stop with one person. They spread. Because once you were arrested, there was an expectation. You would name others. Not always immediately, not always willingly, but under pressure. Silence looked like resistance, and resistance had consequences. A Jesuit priest, Friedrich Spee, witnessed this firsthand. What he described wasn't a system uncovering truth, but one producing it. People began naming others not because they believed they were witches, but because they understood what was happening to them. Names became answers, given carefully, expanded slowly, adjusted, until they matched what the court wanted. Some named neighbors, some named family, not as an attack, but as a way to survive what was being done to them. It rarely worked, but in that moment, it made sense, because in a system like this, accusation wasn't just a weapon. Sometimes, it was the closest thing to a defense. And some of the most powerful accusations came from the least powerful people, children, in Würzburg, and later in Salem. Children gave detailed testimonies. They described gatherings, rituals, names. At first, it sounds like belief, but look closer, and the pattern changes. The questions they were asked weren't neutral. They pointed somewhere. And when a child gave an answer that matched what authorities already believed, it was rewarded, repeated, expanded, refined. Over time, the stories became more detailed, more certain, not necessarily because they were true, but because the children learned how to answer correctly. And once spoken in that form, their words carried weight, enough to condemn adults. They weren't inventing something out of nothing. They were learning how to describe what the system expected to hear. These accusations didn't come from one place. They came from conflict, from fear, from pressure, different reasons, same result. Because the system didn't need truth. It needed statements that could be shaped into it. And once your name was spoken, guilt wasn't something they proved. It was something they had already decided.